Ciao a tutti! Ciao, how are you? Hope everyone is fine. First of all, I want to beg your pardon because I'm here not in a very professional way. I am at my home, I'm not at the bed and breakfast and cooking school in Tuscany, but I'm here at my home. Furthermore, my kitchen is very small, so I'm here in another room. So I beg your pardon for this, but I'm sure that we can easily go forward to make something very interesting together, because we are making something that can change your way to bake and also to digest, because the sourdough is very light, is very healthy, and I'm sure that we can make it together. So we add the first step 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. You know, we just had some flour, some water mixed together with honey in this case, and we put our jar in a cabinet in the kitchen in the dark place, covered with a cotton that was a bit wet. This is important because we need that the box that contains this mixture is not in an anaerobic system, but it should be aerobic. And so that's why we use, instead of this we use the cotton, the wet cotton. Now we make the second step, that is a very important step, to make our own yeast, our own very good yeast. And next time that we'll meet, I'm sure that we can start to bake something together maybe. And so I give you the possibility to refresh your yeast on Friday and on Sunday, and then we can meet each other on Monday to make something together. For example, a small focaccia, and I'll teach you how much amount of yeast you have to use, and this will be very useful because you could and you can use, and you'll be able to use your yeast to make everything. You know, at the start we have not a very strong yeast, that's why, because it's very weak. We are starting now to make this. So it's impossible that is we could make, for example, panettone. Is not possible now at this moment, but you'll be able to make this like brioche, panettone, or something that needs a very strong force in flour, going forward in the days. But so let's go and show you the second step of making our yeast. First of all, let me, so you can see better. First of all, we take off the lid. Maybe you can see here that there are some bubbles. I don't know if you can, but you see. Okay, so in this case, let's see the PC. We take a tablespoon, and now I have to tell you a very important thing to make the sourdough yeast. It's very important to have a scale, because you have to weight your flour and your dough. Now I call this dough or yeast, okay? So it's very important to have a scale, because there is a law, and this law, it will be useful forever. That is the same amount of flour, the same amount of yeast, like this, and the half amount of water. So you have 1 part of flour, 1 part of yeast, that is, in this case is this, and half part of water. This will be useful for any kind of refresh you are going to do, you are going to make, but you'll see it will be much easier than when we talk about. So now I take this phone down and I show you the procedure in practical. So we take the scale, we put our bowl on, and now we are going to weigh 50 grams. You can also take the half part of this, but I prefer that you have some precise number, some precise amount. So we are going to take 50 grams of this mixture. You see, it's like gum. Now our yeast is like gum. So we take this, we go there. This is our starter. And if you have a starter like this, so a bit gummy, you can be sure that you are doing a very good job. Perfetto. So here we have 50 grams of our starter. The other starter, now we set apart. I'll tell you later what we can make with sourdough surplus. So we have 50 grams of this. At this point, our loaf that I told you, the same amount of this and the same amount of flour. So we take our scale again, and we know that to this 50 grams, we have to pour 50 grams of flour. So 50 grams is 3 ounces in your measure in USA. So we go with the 3 ounces of yeast, of sourdough, of our starter, and we put 3 ounces of flour. I go with this. Just a bit more. Perfetto. I want to show you again. Now we are going to mix this with a wooden spoon, if you have, or a spatula. I want to show you that is very dry. And what do you say? I told you that the law is to use, in this case it is not specified the amount of water, but it will be very soon, because usually we have to use the half part of water, but not now in the second meeting. So we have to just add a bit of water. Now we start with 1 tablespoon and mix. And we have to do this very slowly, because you know, when you are kneading something, if you go very slowly, you take more part of your yeast, flour and water. Otherwise, you risk to make many crumbles. So I see that it's still a bit dry, and so we go with another tablespoon of water. I want to show you so you see that is 1 tablespoon. And we mix very, very slowly. I forgot to tell you that the water has to be warm. Usually is forbidden. Usually when we make bread, when we make pizza or focaccia, we have never to use warm water, but always very cold one, because it's not this that help to rise, and fresh water is much better. But now we are creating our starter, and it's important in this way. So at this point, I go with my hand, because I think that everything is really incorporated. But as you can see, I have to obtain like a sandwich, but I need to have something that is a bit sticky, and now is always too much dry. So we go in this case with half tablespoon, very, very small amount of water, like 1 teaspoon. And now it's a bit sticky. Our bowl has to be clean. So we obtain like a sandwich, as I told you, and we make this movement. We fold and we fold again. We fold, and you see it's sticky in the surface, and it's important that this is breaking, because now we are giving to our sandwich the force, the strongest to rise after. And so when we meet to make a focaccia, for example, or a pizza, we are sure that we are making a good job. So you see, I want to show you this because if you see this, you understand very well. So this is the yeast, the sourdough starter, and if I touch this, is a bit sticky. Look at, this is very important for you to understand. And also my hand is a bit, you see, it's a bit sticky. So, but we have anyway like a sandwich, so it's not so liquid. We put this in our jar. Ecco. And we try to open the surface, making 2 cuts, so it's open. I come immediately, and I go to take scissors. Eccomi. You know, many time ago, when we, in Italy, when we had some yeast, or my granny, for example, made pizza or focaccia bread, before rising the yeast, she took the scissors and make a cross symbol over. But this is, tell you the truth, this is very important because open the gluten. So it's not only a Christian symbol, the cross, but it's important to open the gluten. So I want to show you again. This is our sandwich, and we make so. So we have something that can help this to rise, and we don't want to close this with this brand because, you know, we need to have something that is aerobic. So we take some water to dip our cotton again. We cover. This is our second step for making yeast. And we leave this in a cabinet, in the kitchen, how I told you, in a dark place, for 48 hours again. And you know, you go there, you see if it's no more wet the cotton, you have to wet again with just a small teaspoon over the cotton, just to maintain the wet. And after 48 hours, so on Friday, you have to do exactly what we made this evening, for me, but it's noon time for you. You have to make exactly the same that we made today, but if you have a strong white bread flour, is better, because we go faster for making some products for baking. And in this way, we'll have something to bake more, quick. And on Friday, you do the same thing that we made. So you take off one part of this, you weight 50 grams of your dough, you take 50 grams of flour, so 3 ounces of your dough, 3 ounces of flour, and the half part of this, almost, but now is not so precise because we are not baking. So the half part, but maybe is 2 tablespoons like this, like today, of water. So 1 part of dough, 1 part of flour, half part of water. Mix together, make like a small sandwich, cross in a jar and cover. This is named rinfresco del lievito. So refresh. In this way you refresh your sourdough. Now is not a sourdough, but next time it will be. And if you make this Friday and you make this on Sunday, then send me pictures so we can see and we can chat together. If you need something, you ask me, and you know I jump here even when this Facebook streaming is done, and so I can answer you everything. You know I'm always at your disposal. And so on Monday we can meet together and we can start to bake something together. I thought that we could make a focaccia, for example. So I just show you the right amount of yeast that we'll need to make focaccia. So it's very important that you follow these steps. It could be a bit tricky, but you know, it's like a ritual. It's like when one person wake up in the morning and has a yoga lesson or make yoga, and because making and refreshing yeast is very relaxing, and you remember the yeast is alive. And so it's a great satisfaction to work with something that is changed, and then you can bake many things without be heavy in stomach, but very happy to digest, and it is a very completely different way to face a day, your job, your work, and is completely different. You can be sure. If you are a gluten-free person, you can also go with this amount of flour, and one we can make every time you can refresh with a no gluten, so gluten-free flour. And in I think in 20 times that you refresh, you could go to bake with your gluten-free yeast. Maybe you can have you can need some apple or something that give chi è che Lonnie Shambets, ciao Lonnie and ciao Sherry also. Okay. if you think that this is a smoother, it doesn't mention, it's not important, you can go. If you see that is much more liquid, you can add more flour. Every yeast is different, so you have not to see just the texture of yeast, but you have to be sure of the amount of flour and water that you are going to weight. This is important because there is a law. So I thank you everyone. I hope to meet you on Monday, and meanwhile Friday and Sunday refresh your dough with the law that we told about. But anyway, I write it in the comments, of course. And I hope to meet you again. Ciao Cheryl! Grazie! Sì, Cheryl. We can meet next time and we can start making something. Then I can also tell you the way to use the surplus, the sourdough surplus. Because many people don't want to throw the part that you take off for your mother yeast. And so we can use it in many ways, and I can send you a note. For example, grissini, that I know many people like grissini, and grissini that are perfect, or piadina. so I can write you the recipes. But girls, remember, on Friday, using, if you have strong white bread flour, because it will be very quick. If you haven't, doesn't mention, you can go with bread flour, with the flour that you are using, and refresh on Friday, refresh on Sunday, and we'll meet on Monday. Maybe if you can send me some pictures of your doughs during these days, and on Monday when we are starting to make something together, it's better, okay? Okay. Sorry, there is a Vanda that is barking because there is another dog. I beg your pardon so for this for this not professional meeting, but hope to meet you again. And see you on Monday, and we write you, okay? Write me your question and I'll answer you, of course. Ciao ciao, ciao, ciao ciao.